I think we're changing coffee. Like Starbucks has trained the industry to appreciate that. Well, coffee brings people together at good and bad times of their life. It's been around since like biblical time.
When you say you custom built it, what does that mean?
You can't just go on Amazon and order a cold brew manufacturing plant. All businesses are people businesses. I think that's why I'm so passionate about building a company that is heavily entrenched in community. Marketing is not nice colors. Marketing is what people remember and what people say about you when you're not there.
How do you change consumer behavior?
We can predict as a company when we launch a new retailer which can is going to sell better based on the color of the can. I know if I do this, my life will change completely. But there's been many times where sales were down, pulling off a personal line of credit, like not paying myself, dumping money into the company that I didn't really have just to make sure that the staff got paid because this retailer didn't pay me yet, and like I'm not sleeping and whatever. So, and I'm not successful. I'm just working really hard. But
let's say you want to go for a medium roast. What's the temperature that you got to roast your coffee at? Like
our exact temperature would be. We opened this facility 2 years ago, so July of 2023. We've 10x'd since opening. It was my hobby. So this Sheepdog started as my hobby. It was me and a buddy, and we were doing coffee roasting, and then we had this idea for cold brew coffee, and then went to the bank and got laughed out of the room when they were like, "You want to sell cold coffee in Winnipeg?"
What'd you say to them?
It was like they're like, "Get out of here! You're dumb, right?"
You asked for a loan?
Yeah, like, well, this stuff costs money, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I had this vision for creating Sheepdog. So the idea was we would make what feels like an 80s beer brand with like some real like nostalgia to it, but it would be coffee instead. And so our coffee's got twice the caffeine of normal coffee. So I feel like we're this weird hybrid of energy drink meets beer meets coffee. And we're like in this like weird space there where we've found this little niche and people are just loving it. So, yeah.
Can you break down how the chemical formulation works for the nitro? Like, how is it different from traditional cold brew? Because you're also putting nitrogen droplets in there, right?
Yeah. So, well, the whole system I custom built, but the last piece that I wanted to integrate into the product was I wanted to have that like Guinness froth. So it's black coffee, but then you drop this nitrogen in it. So the machine that I brought in from Georgia, and it's normally meant for like when you're, well, people don't know this, but I'll geek out. I'll give you the science part. So nitrogen represents about 78% of the atmosphere in its gas state. But to make it a liquid state, it requires extremely high pressure and low temperature to hold it at liquid. So we brought in this machine, and typically it would be used for like bagging chips. So when the chips go through the filling line, they'll drop a little bit of nitrogen in the bag. It expands really rapidly when they drop the liquid in. It'll give it that like air in the bag to protect the chips, and it also helps preserve them because nitrogen is a preservative. But it's all natural, right? Like we're breathing it right now.
Yeah.
So I brought in this machine, and then we sort of did some conversions on it to run it in a beverage canning line, so we could drop droplets of liquid nitrogen in the coffee. And then we spent probably 3 or 4 months just trying to figure out, okay, well, we did a whole bunch of batches because the temperature of the coffee going in the can will change how the nitrogen reacts, and then how much pressure in the can. So for our stuff, like if you were to get a high carbonated soda water or whatever, you can do really low PSI. Carbonation works really well with fluid. But with us, we had to find the perfect balance because we needed such high PSI in the can. We had to do a whole bunch of trials and testing, like how much nitrogen has to be added before it'll integrate into the fluid to give it that Guinness froth. And like, yeah. So I geeked out for about a year before opening this just to develop the drinks.
Is that safe?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, because we're literally breathing it right now. It's 1,000% safe. It's just a gas that's in the air, but we just compress it down, and once we compress it, it expands 700 times per second as it leaves the dispensing vessel.
Okay.
So when we put it in the can, it starts expanding rapidly. So we have to seal it super quick so that it holds it in. And then the ratio that we've developed will push it into the fluid at 35 PSI, which is at what temperature or what pressure nitrogen will integrate into coffee. So that's kind of...
Okay, how much research did you have to go into this? Obviously there was trial and error and figuring out like, okay, 700 times the expansion rate or stuff like that.
Well, and it doesn't really like, there's no like, you can't just go on Amazon and order a cold brew manufacturing plant, you know, like you can't be like add to cart and you just get it. So like tons of, I was reading white papers at universities. I was reading like anything I could find on beverage packaging. And and to be like completely honest, like my passion is marketing and branding. So to have to geek out on a year of like scientific stuff to get this product ready for market was like a drain for me. But I was like, I have to figure it out because this was the product I wanted to sell. Because I love our product. So like this is what I want. So I had to do what I didn't love for a long time to like get it ready. So
When you say you custom built this, what does that mean?
well, all of our equipment, like so most of the equipment we have would be similar to a beer brewery, but beer uses different things. So they're going to use, like for instance, they'll have a lot of steam involved because they're going to have boiling kettles and stuff like that to kind of boil and cook the beer and stuff. So we had to custom convert everything to handle chilled. So then we built like a whole glycol chilling system with different jackets around the tank so that we could get the temperature down on the fluid. And then we had issues with like in our tanks where like, you know, when you go swimming in the lake and you dive in, it's really warm, and then you hit like a line and it's cold underneath. Yeah. We were getting that in our tanks. Then we had to kind of rejig the tanks to make it so that the jackets were like separated in zones. And so we had to custom build everything to get what we wanted. So we didn't get, the term is stratification.
Yeah.
So we didn't want that in the tanks. And then we had to build the glycol system to run a chilled glycol solution around them all. And then we had to laser etch different filter grades into like, we have one of our tanks, our big brew house has a false bottom, and we had to laser etch a certain micron level of filter on the bottoms that when we're pulling the coffee through, we're catching the sediment. And so there was a lot that went into it. But at the end of the day, we built a system that makes great cold brew.
Did you go all in right from the start? Or was there a point where you know?
Well, okay, so this is how we started. So we started doing a little coffee roasting. That's where Sheepdog began. So it was me and a buddy roasting coffee, but small. Like we were, you know, occasional farmer's market, friends and family. It was very fun. We didn't have a lot of money behind it, or we had no money behind it, like extremely grassroots, right? Like we were both just kind of blue collar guys. We're like, let's just go do this thing, right? So we started with that.
Can you define coffee roasting for myself?
Yeah. So we bring in coffees from all over the world. So I could get into coffee stuff. Coffee is a weird one because it has more flavor profiles than whiskey or wine.
Okay.
But like it's this like super intense and geeky field you can get to. So most people are just like, I just want coffee. Yeah. Either it's dark roast or medium roast. Like that's all they know, right? But so what we do is we bring in coffees from all over the world. And the majority of ours would come from Colombia, Ethiopia, Guatemala, Peru would be the countries to do. So we bring them in. And the coffee we get it looks like coffee, maybe it's green. And the coffee bean is actually the pit of a fruit. So the coffee is a fruit. And so depending on how that fruit is grown, picked, processed, the beans will have completely different flavors. And that's why it has more flavor complexity than whiskey or wine. So we bring in the coffees from all over the world. We get them in these 200-pound or 150-pound sacks. And then we have a roaster, which is a big heating drum. And we have all these electronics hooked up to it. We dump the green coffee in the top of it. It goes in this heated drum. And then we measure how fast we're applying heat to it, how fast we're adding airflow to it. And we use the heat curve to change the flavor of coffee to what you would like to drink now. So that coffee then becomes brown, goes from green to brown. Most people know coffee's brown, right? Yep. And so we roast it, and then how we get it there on the heat curve will change the flavor. So we can take the same bean from, say, our Colombian coffee that we bring in, or our Ethiopian, like we always bring it from the same region in the same country as much as we can, because we know that like typically we can get a very consistent flavor profile if we get from this one region in the country. And then we can take that same bean and roast it 25 different ways, make it taste 25 different coffees.
Is there an average temperature? Like, let's say you want to go for a medium roast. What's the temperature that you got to roast your coffee at? Like,
well, our exact temperature would be kind of like our recipe. So we keep that a little. Yes. But yeah, so we can take that temperature up.
Is there like a industry standard, or is that all based off of like your recipes for coffee?
Well, typically I think people who don't have a nuanced coffee palate would kind of just know their coffees as light, medium, dark. Right. And so like most people, that's all they think of, right? And because it's like, if you're doing coffee at scale, you're going to McDonald's, you're going to Tim's, you're going to like a big coffee organization, it's easier just to pick a light, medium, dark, right? But what a lot of people will do, this is how I would explain the coffee consumer-facing part of the industry to people, is if you want a really dark coffee, like Starbucks has trained the industry to appreciate that, right? So when you hear Italian coffee, Italians don't grow coffee. So on the spectrum of roasting coffee, there's different terms that we would use. So light, medium, dark are a very general way of explaining how the coffee roasting spectrum would go. But in true reality, there's all these different terms that we would use. So it'd be a cinnamon roast is super, super light. And we go to like a city roast, so you could go city plus, full city plus. And then at the end, you'd get French and Italian, which are actually definitions for a really dark roast coffee. So when someone says, oh, I like Italian coffee, what they mean is it could be any bean from around the world. It's not grown in Italy, but it's roasted really dark Italian style.
Got it.
So that's how people, and then if you were to go to, like I'm going to think locally, and I know your podcast is played all over, but locally we sort of have three kind of local coffee roasters that I use as examples. So like DeLuca's, who are our neighbors, do phenomenal dark roast Italian coffee. Because they're Italians, they do it dark roast. They're known for that. They do it best. Yeah. And then Tom Bargan, who we love working like beside, they're a phenomenal coffee roaster. They do lighter roast. So they're bringing in these beans and they're roasting them really lightly, and you get like this crazy nuanced flavor in the bean. They don't cook the natural flavor out of the coffee bean. So you get really like really bright, fruity floral notes. And then we're just down the middle. And I'd say like for Winnipeg coffee roasters, you got DeLuca's on the end, you got Tom Bargan on the other end, and then we just kind of go just right down the middle. So all of ours, we love like that medium dark. We kind of play in that space a bit.
Okay, cool.
And so for Winnipeg coffee, or if you're like, what do I buy? Like if you love dark roast coffee, like we might not be the one for you.
Yeah.
If you love light roast, we also might not be the one for you. But that's kind of how I would explain.
Yeah, originally when you said roasting coffee, I just imagined you sitting around a table and just like roasting it.
Just like grill it. Yeah.
What are you
On the
doing?
barbecue. Take it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, when you
Just
open
calling
those
it
drums,
names. Yeah.
when we were taking that little tour of the facility here, you open those drums and it was like,
You can smell it.
I just got like, I woke up from the smell of just like
Totally.
smelling with
Well,
beans.
and like,
It's amazing.
and I remember like I was a cop before, right? And I remember like you'd go in the middle of the night and you go to Tim Hortons, get the worst, or 7-Eleven, get the worst coffee ever. But just the smell of coffee in the cruiser car in the middle of winter, you didn't even have to drink it, but just like it would mask the smell of like puke and blood for a bit. And like you would be like, oh, that was really nice, you know? And like it just made the night better. So like I think coffee just always had like a real place in my heart because it was like that little joy you get in the middle of the night on a night shift. And
You said in an interview once that you wanted to change the world, and you
Yeah.
did that during your days as a cop, but it was no one calls 911 in a positive situation. Right?
No.
When you're calling them. And this way, when people think coffee, all of a sudden they're happy and they're something.
Yeah, like it was really hard for me. Like when I left the police in March of this year, like I was doing both full time and like grinding. Like I said, we've 10x the size of the business. I went from 1 employee 2.5 years ago to 14 now. Like we're growing like crazy. We're getting like now like people are reaching out from all over the country wanting to carry our stuff. Like I say the only 2 bad reviews we ever get is people who hate coffee or hate cops. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess you still like. So if you like coffee, you still haven't complained about my coffee. So that's a good sign, right? But it was really hard for me because I have this like, you know, I come from a long line of like civil servants, so firefighters, veterans, cops, like, you know, school board folks. Like that's my family lineage, and to leave and do a business felt like selfish. It was like I wasn't giving back. And that was a hard one for me. That actually, I would have probably left sooner if I had been able to stomach the idea of like doing a business, which in my mind, I didn't understand at the time, felt selfish because it was like, I'm not contributing to society. And since then, like we don't really advertise this much, but when we started Sheepdog, we never paid ourselves anything. And we were able to raise and donate over $30,000 to local charities that supported either veterans or children in poverty before we ever paid ourselves $1, before we ever bought new equipment. We were just like hustling, hosting fundraisers, and we gave back. And then now we have like, I have sort of 3 charities that we've had to kind of pick as are the ones we support. But we kind of pick the 3 that we work with. And I've realized now that like my time as a cop was rewarding, but I could only help the people at that call I was going to. And now with my business, I'm able to help way more people because I have a whole team now. Like, well, like when we do our hamper drive in the winter, we'll have like 30 volunteers here packing up like tons of hampers for people, and we can do so much at once. So I really had to learn that it was okay to like step out of the uniform and find other ways to contribute to community.
Why was that?
Go ahead.
Why was that service so important to you? Like,
It's just in me.
right.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, and I still look back and I'm like, I'm not there now. You know, like I have so many buddies that are still there, and I hear their stories. We go for lunch or whatever, and it's almost like a survivor's guilt thing, right? Like you hear of like, you know, I talked to because I was in the military before, but never deployed. I was a reserve member, so like I never would try and claim clout from my reserve military time. But like, you know, you hear about the guys that go to war and their friend dies and they have survivor's guilt for the rest of their life because, you know, why them, not me, right? Kind of the same thing with leaving the city too. It's like I hear the stories and you know, and you see the news clips and it's like part of me is like I should be out there too. Like I was good at it, right? So I think that's why I'm so passionate about building a company that is heavily entrenched in community. And it's like, I would say we base almost all of our business decisions around how we're gonna be involved in community. So like we just hosted the marathon and everything. So like just anything we can do to build community and be a part of it. I would rather give everything away and keep, as long as the business has enough to keep going, like I would rather build a brand that just is so involved than buy my own fancy car or whatever. Like that's, you know, I just need like a truck to get around and pick things up and I'm happy, you know, like, yeah.
So you worked for like 15 years, right?
Just under 15 years, yeah.
And you mentioned that you were doing both full time.
Yeah.
Why? And how?
I don't know how. Well, okay, so
what did that
I guess
look like?
for the productivity dorks, who I sometimes identify with, I got really good at like trying to offload everything that didn't consist of what I had to do at my job or what I had to do for the business. So little things like hired a house cleaner, yard keeper. I had a friend of mine that I grew up with. She was making all my meals for me. Like anything I could get out of the way to just, and like the nice thing is we have really cool merch. So like I don't have to buy clothes anymore. So I just wear merch, right? Like, yeah, so I don't have to buy anything, which is nice. Yeah, like Side Live. You'll be wearing just all like Side Live from now on.
We do.
We got enough of those.
Right?
We got enough of those.
Yeah, so like just anything I could get off my plate to free up time. And so I think for the last 2 years, really all I did was, like, if I got 6 hours of sleep a night, I was like, shit. Yeah, like I'm gonna have a good day today.
But someone who can function on 6 hours, where do you need?
Well, the data would say that the amount of people that can function in a healthy way with under 8 hours of sleep, the percentage of people, do you know the percent?
Round to zero.
It's 0% of people. So no, no, I didn't perform as well as I should have, but I just had to do it. So like, I don't know, it's just like there was no other option. There was just like, I'm going to do this. So
Was that a pressure or was it a conscious decision of, I am so passionate about this business and service that this is the price I have to pay?
yeah. I think like for me too, I policed for a long time. I got to see and do pretty much everything I wanted to do. Like it's a really cool job. The people are great. Like I got to see and do it all. But at some point it was like, no one's trying to stab me when I bring them coffee. And it's kind of refreshing, right? So I was like, maybe this is just time. Like, you know, I've put the energy into this and people are really enjoying it. And so the day came where it was like, okay, you either have to turn this hobby into a business or you need to just stop wasting your energy. And so I went for a drive and I'm driving down Corridor and we only had like our retailers at the time that carried our product. So back in the day, I'll give you a little context. Back in the day, we used to, you know, roast up all the coffee and then we would go and we would rent a commercial kitchen in the basement of a church in Elmwood. And we would go down there and I literally like in my Honda Civic, like would drive there and bring like 100 bottles down and we would bottle our product in these little glass stubby bottles. And the product wasn't as good because we didn't have very good filters. Like our water quality wasn't good. We couldn't add the nitrogen to glass. So, but it was our first attempt, right? And so we would go like literally before night shift, the coffee would brew overnight, and then we'd go home and sleep for a couple hours, and then go bottle it, and then go back to work. And then we would sell it at farmers markets. And so I was out for a drive and kind of had an idea of like, what would we do to make this little hobby into a real business? And I'm like, I know if I do this, my life will change completely. This is a life-changing decision. And at the time I was working in the street gang unit. We were doing like some undercover things. So like I hadn't put my face out there with the brand just for, my own safety and everything. So the decision was, okay, if you do this, you change everything that you've built. I'm in I think I was like 32 when this happened. I've been a cop since I was 20. So like it would have been my whole life, right? And my dad was a cop, so I grew up in it. Like it was very much who I was. So I'm driving down Corden, and this lady, and I wish I had stopped and said something to her, but she walks out of the Penny Loaf Bakery, which doesn't exist anymore, and she's pushing a stroller. It was like August. It was beautiful out. She's got her baby in the stroller, and she is drinking one of our bottles like out of a catalog, looking so happy with like her fresh baking on the front of her thing. And I'm like just whizzing by, and I'm like, and I look at this lady drinking our stuff, and I was like,
Channels.
I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you've created this thing, you have to pursue it. Because like, what if I die? And I'm like, remember that time I did that thing and I gave up? Like, what an awful feeling that would be.
Yeah.
So that was the day. That was like, okay, it's time to do this.
How long did you think about doing that before you got there?
I think it had been a few months. Like, I think we had probably like in the winter time, me and the guy that I started Sheepdog with, who's no longer involved, but like, we had like lots of talks back and forth of like what it would take and, how would we make it work and like, how would we, and then I think we both had hard decisions to make. And so he ended up stepping away from it, and we're still good friends. And it just wasn't right for his life at the time. And, I didn't have a family at home and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. So,
Did you know how much effort it's going to take?
I think I correctly judged it at the beginning.
Okay.
And then when I left my job, and actually I'm a big Hormozy fan. Hormozy talks about how when people leave their full-time gig to focus on their thing, they underestimate how much work it's going to be when they leave. And I was like, not me, and I got this. And I was so wrong, like so wrong. And I get out and it's like, oh shit. So I would say the first month after leaving my job was just chaos trying to get caught up on all of the things that I had pushed off. But I was also so tired that like I was working so much to get this business off the ground that I would be so tired driving between meetings, and I would literally I would be so tired that my body, I would feel it as I was driving, like your body's gonna shut down. I would pull over on the side of the road somewhere, sleep for 10 minutes, wake up, and then like get on another Zoom call and then go to the next thing and like go to the next store and keep selling. And I'd just keep doing that for like a year. So when I left, my nervous system was shot. I had so much to do. And I would say it wasn't until like this month or like a month ago that I felt like, okay, and summer's our busy season, right? So I left in March, kind of chaos, trying to get all the shit cleaned up that I hadn't looked at. And then I hired new staff and like kind of ramped up the team. We took on more retailers. Summer was crazy. And only in the last few weeks or maybe 2 months has felt like, okay, we've got a rhythm. I've got great people. We're crushing it. But it took a long time, a long, long time.
Hormozy says, fear is an inch deep and a mile wide. Were you scared of the potential success that Sheepdog would have?
I'm a bit of a weirdo, and I don't really, once I make up my mind, I don't think about fear anymore. So I think after that drive, seeing that lady drinking that thing, it was like, okay, you're gonna do it. And it drives me nuts sometimes when we have a loss, like we maybe have a store that doesn't quite work out the way we're going to, or someone picks someone over us, right? And but like I just kind of see as like how, and we'll do this experiment too with our team where we'll look and see, and we do it quite often, like almost every staff meeting, where we'll look at like, I call everything napkin math. I'm not a hard numbers guy, I'm a napkin guy. Like, just, does this make sense? And we'll do like, how many people were drinking coffee? How many people were drinking energy drinks? And we just do the math on it. We're like, even just in Winnipeg, there are so many people drinking coffee and drinking energy drinks, and they're all potentially customers we haven't met yet. And so we just see this like, just ocean of opportunities. And so I just kind of focus on that. And it's just and then, because I think it's human nature, right? You kind of like, you get into your pattern of what's familiar, and like, you don't always want to go out there and take more risk and take more whatever, but you just kind of keep having to do that. And like his other line is, do so much volume, it'd be
Volume negates
unreasonable that
Yeah.
you would fail. And that's kind of the approach we take, is we're just gonna do more. And I think about Winnipeg brands and how few, like, we don't have a hustle when entrepreneur culture here. Like I see what you guys are doing, but like so few brands want to go there and push it and go for it and do it and be bold and be edgy, and I feel like in Winnipeg it's been like yearning for that. And whenever someone does it, they make it. Like
100%.
There's a couple clothing brands that have made it. Like Cole and Canary Candles. I'm great friends with Amanda. She just went for it. She's bold. She's over the top. She was wearing. You see her. She's wearing the biggest pink outfit you can imagine. She's now chair of the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Like she went for it, and everyone was like, thanks, we love it, we're supporting you. And so I feel like we're kind of on that same train right now, where we just keep showing up, and this is probably the other thing about me, is I hate being told that something's done or I can't do it, and I'm just kind of the type that'll be like, okay, I'll talk to you in a couple of months.
Yeah.
What I did.
Yeah. I feel the same way about sometimes, like,
Yeah.
I reach out to some people and be like, I want to get this guest, but I want to do him at this location. A recent one that's out is like the mayor in the mayor's office.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can do the mayor, but we want to do him in the mayor's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do a hockey player, but I want to do him center ice. Like,
But it's crazy how much people want to help other people.
the one piece of advice we got at the very beginning from a guy named Brad, he said, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah,
And I was
a great
like,
line.
Yeah, I was like, that's a good point. We're just gonna okay, good point.
Yeah.
I wanna dive into that little transition period in March that you went through, because I'll be honest, I'm in a very similar spot of, okay, was in school for a while, now let's go business full time. Let's see what it is. Were you more productive when you were doing both at the same time than
It's interesting you say
full?
Why do you ask that?
Because I feel like I'm there right now.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the business for 2 years while I was in school. So I'd go to the school in the morning and then grind all the way to the night. And I'm again fairly new right now, but I feel like the business grew so much quicker. And I did so much more then than I'm doing now, even though I'm doing much more work now.
Well, an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon.
Shout out, Mr. New.
Right. Yeah, I know. I've actually thought that too. And like when you're so busy, you don't have time to be like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I have to do it right now, or else it will not get done. I've definitely noticed that. I think that one thing I'm trying to focus on is, because I've got such a good team now, I'm trying to shift my role in the company from the doer of everything to the strategic planner of everything. And I actually think that's where I operate best. And that's not everybody, right? Like, so for me, like if someone sends me, and my staff laugh, like if you had said, hey, Shawn, do you want to do the pod? Here's a spreadsheet to fill out. I would have deleted it so fast. I'd be like, a spreadsheet? Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't, I don't. But then
You're
my
a
staff,
Google Sheets guy, eh?
yeah, Google Sheets for sure. Yeah. But I've got like one of my students. She's at Asper in finance. She's she can build a pricing model in a spreadsheet faster than I can get it out of my mouth, and she loves it, right? And so it's like finding those strengths on our team. And so for me, like what I'm trying to do now is just make really good, healthy decisions for the business long term. So as my team is like, some of our staff are really focused on, okay, what happened yesterday and what's happening today. Some are thinking what's happening next month. And I think it's my job to be like, what happens in a year from now? And I found that when I was so busy, I got all the today, yesterday, maybe in 2 weeks from now problems solved, but I wasn't truly making great decisions for a year from now.
Good point.
And so I think that was where, and even I'm still not good at it, but like now I'm trying to learn how to rest, which is, and like Chris Williamson talks about this, right? A type A person is never applauded for doing type B things. But if you're a lazy sack on the couch and you finally get up and you go out and start running and going to university, everyone's like, you can do it. And then if you're like a type A guy who's like addicted to email and working constantly and go, hustle, optimize, and you finally take a day off and be like, I'm just going to read a book today. There's no movie about that guy.
No.
There's no movie. There's no docu-series about being like, remember when that guy rested for a day? So I think now I'm trying to learn how to take those days so I can make really healthy decisions for everyone, like the team, the business, our consumers, because I don't have the clarity when I'm go.
I would also say like it comes down to the baseline, right? Like when you're in university, when you got two competing rabbits running left and right, you're almost like, okay, let me go here, let me go back to this rabbit. But when you go full in, your baseline shifts and you're like, okay, well, I'm so used to doing 80% all the time. And now that I have this extra 20% of my time available that I'm not spending in school, that I'm not doing COPs, you almost start like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's almost like you feel like something's wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's not like, I just have this time, and then you just observe it. It's it's like something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like your anxiety.
You almost feel like guilty for just like not taking advantage of that 20%.
Something I just realized while just speaking right now is I think I just, during those moments, and you probably had some about this as well, that it felt like it was moving quicker because I was looking down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like this step is going this step. But now that you're looking further, the gratification is like delayed.
Well, I ride a motorcycle, and I'll tell you what, if you watch the pebbles at your feet, you cannot see them because they're moving so fast, right? And it's very fast. And then when you look up, it just feels like you're floating through time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with like the pace of how you operate professionally as well, right? Like, and I even see it with my staff too. Like sometimes I can see that they're getting too into the weeds, right? And then movements and decisions get frantic. And I kind of like, the example I use is like, you ever see a video of someone going through the Amazon of the jungle, and one guy has a machete and he's hacking down every plant in front of him? Like he might get far, but he's going to be tired. But then you just see like the people who live there, and they're just kind of like floating through the trees and whatever, like the Amazonian people. It's like, that's a really nice way to do life. You know, just like clarity of thought, you're drifting through, you're walking through, things are walking past you, like, and you're like, there's a flow. You make good decisions when you operate like that. When you're just hacking and bashing, nothing, you might get part of the way, but it's not healthy. You make a bunch of mistakes along the way. So I try to watch that, especially for my younger staff, is like, when are they trying to smack things out of the way versus just work with them, right, and flow.
Is that a balance between, you know, seeing the 10-day vision versus like the 10-year vision, where, you know, like for you, you might be able to weed in and out of the Amazon forest. But for someone that's freshly out of university and like starting to go, they want to know, okay, well, am I brewing right?
Yeah, like, well, I'll use an example because you ran the marathon. We sponsored the marathon. We were all like, so me and part of my team was here at 4 a.m. And we were packing everything up, getting ready and whatever. And when we got to the site, we had a few activations that we were going to set up, right? So we had built a photo wall, we had a coffee station, we had a sample station, we had the finish line, the medal handout. So we were very actively involved.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of sponsors just be like, okay, here's the cash, like throw our logo up. And we were like, no, that's not us. Like, we're going to be very involved. We want to be there. Like, this is who we are, right? So for that morning, everyone's tired. Not everyone can operate on as little sleep as I can. And I forget that sometimes. And we get there, and everyone's trying their best, but it's very frantic to get set up. So I think where the breakthrough that comes is when you go, hey, everybody stop. Let's take a pause here. Okay, yes, we have coffee machines to set up. Yes, we have things to unload. Yes, we have things to build. But let's just pause. Let's zoom out and go, our goal here is to create a phenomenal experience for these runners who are training for this and having fun. So let's just keep that in mind. That is our mission today. And all of the small details, like as long as we're friendly and we show up and we have a positive energy, all of the other details are going to sort themselves out. And everyone gives everyone a chance to just go, right, okay. If the box didn't get packed right at the shop, no one's dying.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right? And we can figure it out. There's no problem we can't solve right now. And what is will be. So like, if we forgot something, it's like, okay, then we just shift past, flow around that tree or bush or whatever, and just keep on going forward. And then it's just like, and I feel like people can feel it too. Like when, and I've even noticed this with sales, is there's been times where, like, I'd like to say that everything's just been glossy, super awesome, but there's been many times where sales were down and I was like pulling off a personal line of credit, like not paying myself, dumping money into the company that I didn't really have just to make sure that the staff got paid because this retailer didn't pay me yet, and like I'm not sleeping and whatever. So those days, And I would try to do like, okay, like I need some money to pay the team or pay rent.
Yeah.
Let's have this sale, do this. And consumers can feel it. They can feel when something isn't great value and done well, and it would never work. Like we would try to do some sale or some promo, and I know. And then whenever we've had a really successful like sales strategy or program, it comes from a very calm place of like, okay, we have a great product, people like what we're doing, let's offer our consumer a lot of value, let's word it in a way that they go, this is great, and then it just goes, and then it just flows, and it just works.
Yeah.
And I think that's why taking that rest time more, because when you're rushed and you're frantic, you're like, okay, we got to sell this, and like, it's kind of like, and I talk about this with my team a lot, like one of my favorite authors is Robert Greene, and he wrote The Art of Seduction. And I think a lot about business is being seduction. So if you're at the bar, and maybe this is more relatable for girls, but most of my staff are girls, so I hear all their stories. But if a guy comes up to you and he's like in your face trying to hit on you and trying to get you to go home with him, and it's disgusting, right? You're like, oh, he could be the best looking guy in the bar, but if he's in your face and whatever, like the girls are just like, oh, get away from me. But the cool guy who hangs out, very chill, nonchalant, floats through. Everybody wants like you want to be friends with him, and your girlfriend wants him. Like that's like like that's the. And so when you're that as a business, like you take that archetype, and that's why we use like all of our branding. The picture I give to graphic designers and stuff when we're working with them is Tom Selleck leaning against a Ferrari, right? He looks effortless, and he's got the big mustache, and that's the energy that we want to have as a company. We're bold, we're edgy, we're fun, but we're just like flowing through, So
I want to pick your brain about the whole brand behind Sheepdog. But before we got into it, you mentioned one tree, which is like not being able to pay your employees. You're taking out personal line of credits. When you're in that moment, as the guy that's leading it all, what does that feel like when everything's on the line for you, and maybe this tree is not something that you're going to get across easily, and it's going to take you a little bit of time?
I just think it's another chapter in the book at the end, and I don't stress, like I stress about it because like my stress doesn't come from, I believe we're doing something great. I believe we have a great product. I believe we have great people. And those moments have come all of the time. And whether it's God, whether it's fate, whether it's luck, I don't know. But it's all worked out. And every time something really hard has come up like that, it was just an opportunity to learn how to do something differently. And so I don't because at the end of the day, if Sheepdog failed tomorrow and I had nothing, what I have is all of the skills I learned, all of the connections I made, all of the abilities that I didn't have before are now in my tool belt. And so the work I've done on Sheepdog has done way more for me than it does for the business. And so I don't really worry about it, because for me, the biggest stress is one of my staff just turned 30, bought his first home with his new wife, while working for me. He's my first employee. He's still with me. He's gotten married. He's got a new home he just bought. I've been able to give him pay raises. To me, making sure that he can pay his mortgage stresses me out way more than anything else, right? Because he's built his life here with me. So that is way more important to me than anything else. And I don't really worry about it too much, because I believe that we do things ethically and with purpose. And I think that we work really hard, and we don't take no for an answer. And there's those days where it's like the money didn't come in. And then the next month is great. And it's like, see, you made it past that one, and then you were rewarded with the next month. Yeah. And then and it always too, whenever those things come up, it's usually, if you really step back and you evaluate it, it's because you screwed something up, and it's an opportunity to figure out what that was and fix it and go back to the drawing table. So I don't stress about it that much. I just see it as an opportunity.
How much of this, Shawn, you're very calm, first of all. Very calm. You give me a very calm, nonchalant vibe. How much of this have you either learned or adapted from being a police officer and seeing some shit and seeing the world there's worse things out there in the world that if this happens, we'll be okay?
Yeah. I mean, some of the worst days of my life were having to go and like tell someone that their child was dead.
Yeah.
You know, like, so people like think about cops and they're like, you know, either they hate them or they think that like it's just all crazy gunfights and car chases and stuff. But like the real moments are like I remember like one of the worst day on the job ever for me was having to go tell some family that their son had killed himself. Like there's nothing in business that equals that.
Yeah.
And I remember like I was at hockey one time, and this guy, real pompous guy, and he's probably late 50s, early 60s, finance bro, like lifetime finance bro.
6'5"?
What's that?
6'5"?
No, short, portly,
Okay.
really loud.
The real finance.
And I don't think he knew what I did for a living. And I think I was still a cop at the time, and we went out for wings after hockey, and this guy's talking about the financial crisis. And he goes, you want to talk about being stressed? Like, we saved the world as financial advisors. And I was like, get up. Like, and I didn't say anything. I don't, to this day, I don't talk to that guy, because I'm like, man, your overinflated self-image is so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
When you have like I love it when nurses show up here and buy cases of our coffee to the hospital. Like when I was as a copy, I ended up in the hospitals a lot. And I'd go in and there'd be like 3 doctors drinking our cold brew in the emergency room. And I'm like, dude, like this is why we did it. Like this is it, you know, like this is crazy. And none of this matters at all compared to what those people are doing. Like at all. Like any business is irrelevant compared to like the work you do with humans. So it's just like, you know, like the social worker that's out there trying their best to get their mentally ill, drug addicted client to not die today is way more important than any of this. So I don't stress about it.
Is that almost liberating in a sense that you're able to detach from that final goal, right? Maybe that final goal isn't to make $1 million or to, you know, drive a Ferrari every day to work. And you're almost motivated by this like undeniable stack of like just service. Like you just want to make this world a better place. And you're able to do that through your own unique way through coffee, right?
Well, coffee brings people together at good and bad times of their life. It's been around since like biblical times. Like it was discovered in Ethiopia by a goat farmer whose goats were eating the fruit and getting hyper. So he discovered the coffee pit is like,
Really?
Yes, that's where coffee is found. So like our Ethiopian coffee comes from the same region that coffee was discovered in Ethiopia. And that's why we bring it in from there. It's like a tribute to the origins of coffee. And it's not going anywhere. It's a staple. And yeah, like it's just, I think our community is built on this brown water. Like it really is. And I've been sober for a couple of years. So like I used to drink a lot. I used to drink way too much, and it was time for me to get sober. But coffee and the Sheepdog brand kind of saved me from like alcoholism and like all the dark places I got into with alcohol. And so like it's just another layer of why this is important to me. But yeah, I don't know if I really answered your question.
No, I think you did. I think the purpose just speaks naturally, right? It's not about like, like I don't think it's very evident even through your branding that it's not like coming here taking over the industry. It's like you found your own place and you're paving your own path. So yeah, that's where I want to dive into your brand is really like,
well, I really, really get disgusted by false idols. And I think about this a lot. Like, okay, I'm going to go on a roundabout story here. There. Okay. One thing that I really observed while policing was that all of the people we dealt with were all children. And I remember, like, obviously, right, we were all kids, right? And I remember this, one of my very first partners in the police, he had like 30 years on as a cop, big old man, just like a dad figure, right? And he goes, we went to this really awful, awful call where a bunch of young street gang members were hanging out in one apartment, and a bunch of other young rival street gang members came in and they got in a machete bear mace fight, and but then we get there and the lady who owned the suite, I'm going to call her a lady, but it's a stretch. She had like, face tattoos, gang, hood shit. And she has like, I think there was 3 kids, but 2 for sure, like under 5-year-old kids that are hers in this suite with all these gang members doing drugs and going nuts in the places. So now we get there, there's bear mace all over the place, there's blood everywhere. And she was taking the blood of the other gang members and rubbing it on her kids' faces to celebrate that they had defeated the home invaders. And we leave this call, and I think that my old partner could kind of really, when we were all done, I think he kind of see that I was thinking about it, and he goes, the kids will break your heart if you let them. And then what I realized was like all of the kids that we deal with all become the adults we deal with. And so I think I had this breakthrough a couple of years ago where now all I see in people is their little boy or the little girl, right? And so I think that's very freeing too. So when you talk about opportunities and you're like, yeah, I'd love to interview this guy, I think about like, well, who was that guy as a little kid? And like, what motivates him? Why did he make the decisions he did to get where he is? And for me, it's very freeing to just see people as the kid that maybe didn't get loved or didn't get whatever. So that's kind of how I view like all my, that's how I approach a lot of things, is like with the inner child in mind. Yeah.
What was your inner child?
I think that like my parents worked a ton. So I was kind of just left on my own a lot. And I think you don't see successful people, and I think what a lot of people think about, and I'm not successful, I'm just working really hard, but
That's a great line. That's a great line. Sorry.
no, it's true. I think that always comes from a place of some pain, right? Like there's something there that makes you drive and push. And sometimes like, you see really just like nice, stable people who are like, I got a good job, and I got a great girlfriend, life is good, I got a golden retriever, life is it. And then that's just kind of who they are. And that's never been me. I've always been like, what's next? How can I change the world? What matters? How do I do more? So I think that just comes from a place of wanting to earn my place in the world.
I think like it's, we always say this on the podcast where it's that drive is almost like you're running away from the reality of life,
Sure.
Like you're the distance between that fear of not fitting in or like whatever your childhood trauma was. And you really want to just separate it to like this, what you envisioned as a child. Like imagine sitting in your childhood living room and you're just thinking like, kind of like zone out for a second. You're like, what would it be if the shit around me didn't work or like was not there? And I think that's like, it fucking pushes you to just go harder and distance that self, right? Is that what drives you? Like, of course the service is there, but
like, I think for me, I definitely really require like validation, but I don't want it cheaply. So for me, it's like, if someone's going to validate me, it better be earned. And I think this is maybe something that a lot of people don't understand about men in general. Because if you tell a guy, and I'm really kind of on this path right now of like helping other men out, and I do men's retreats, and I've worked, I've got 2 brothers, I worked as a cop and as a soldier, like I've only worked with men. It's really weird now with my company, because that's like almost all my staff are girls, and they're phenomenal. I love having them here. But I think a lot about that with men, and it's like, if you tell a guy he did a good job, and he doesn't feel he earned that, it's awful.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's almost offensive, right? And so I think there's a narrative of like, we need to, bring men up and let them cry and do all that stuff. And it's like, well, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't want to be told I did a good job when I know I didn't, right? So for me, like all the things I do in my life, I do extremely intentionally, and I try to do them as best I can, because if I get validation from someone, I have to know that I earned it. And like, you guys know, like when you have a podcast that didn't go well and someone's like, oh, I love that episode. And you're like, no, you fucking didn't. Like the guest sucked, like the audio didn't work out very well. Like you guys know, and some, they're just blowing smoke up your ass and like, you guys know, and you feel it. You're like, no, you didn't
Listen
want
to
that.
every episode. I'm like, I don't even fucking do that.
Right, yeah, like
Name one.
because it feels
exactly.
cheap, right?
Yeah,
So
you're
I
right,
think
you're
like my message to young men, if I was going to give one, is like, do things really well, and then when you do get some validation, it means something, right? So when like I was in the gym yesterday, and this guy, it's weird now because I put my face out there. I'm sure you guys have experienced this too. But like I was at the gym yesterday, and some guy just came and gave me a fist bump. He goes, "Love your coffee," and walked past, and I was like, no idea who that guy is. That is really cool.
Great.
Or I go out somewhere and someone's just wearing a Sheepdog shirt, right? Like we work with local tattoo artists to come up with like really cool designs on our apparel, and like we've done so many like cool shirts and hats and stuff. And just like seeing someone out in the wilderness wearing one of our like our hats, or
And they don't
that
know.
is, and I don't know who they are. They don't know me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, that is true. Like, oh, I gave something to the world that people liked. So, but to go back to what you said, I don't know if I'm running for something or if that's what all men should be striving to achieve, is being like, I provided so much value that like I earned my spot here. Like I'm a valuable man.
I think that's like to our core, being men is driven by that purpose. Like if you go back to from when mankind was developed, like that was our goal. Like
It's like, you ever see that meme of like packing up a ship to go explore the ocean, who wants to come with me or whatever, right? And every guy's like, yeah, I'll go right now, right? If there's something about that, like we're gonna explore, we're gonna build, we're gonna do something, like there's no better feeling. Like that's why guys love team sports, right? Like you get in a line with a bunch of guys to play football or rugby or hockey, and it's gonna be a rough, tough, violent game. It's like you never feel more alive than that moment, right? And it's the same thing with us, right? Like when I think a lot of entrepreneurs, that for male entrepreneurs, I can't speak to the female experience, but for guys, it's like when you see your product out there and like people are coming back, and I think with money, you're talking about like the money incentives, like Ferraris and stuff. Money's just how businesses keep score, right? And so if your business is making money, it means you're winning the game, right? So as long as your business is making money and you're finding value in it, like you could run a phenomenal plumbing business that's just profitable, that you offer phenomenal experience to the consumer, and everyone's like, you got to call this guy if your toilet backs up. He's the best. And you go and the people love you. Like that is what you should seek in life, not getting a Ferrari. Because getting the Ferrari and not feeling you truly earned it, it's
It's a great point. Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Can I ask, so on the show, we talk a lot about success stories, but we also like to ask our guests a little bit about some of the failures they've encountered and what failure means to them. So what are some of the failures you've encountered along the way in this journey, and how do you think they've shaped you and shaped your success overall?
You're going to hate my answer. I don't really think we've had many failures. I just think we've learned a lot. I don't even see them as failures. I never like go and think, oh, we failed. It's like, no, we didn't. Like we all ate today and we all slept in a house. Like we didn't fail. I would say some hiring. I think learning how to hire the right people. I've had a couple people come on that they're phenomenal people, but I did a bad job of like understanding how they would fit into the team and how I can get the team ready to embrace them. So some personal failures for me would be just like not understanding that. And that's a whole other, like now I'm redoing how we do our hiring too. So I'm onboarding this whole software program where staff are gonna go through a questionnaire, and then we build the job description with the personality traits we want for it. But then this software, they go through this whole personality software, and it gives them an archetype. And then we go with what they naturally do really well, and then we overlay that on the job description.
Sick.
And then after we find the people that actually pair with the job description, then we could get into values and personality fit. Because we could get 50 applicants for the position, say 5 of them have the archetype that we're looking for, then we get to pick. Because then we know like, okay, this job has to do A, B, C. But you're really good at A and C, but B you hate. It's like, well, now every time we need to get B done, you're going to drag your heels. And I'm the same way. Like,
That's great. Yeah.
there are tasks I hate, right? So I would say hiring would be kind of something that I've failed on a couple of times, but we have a phenomenal team. So we've also done a really good job on other sides. So
What was it like convincing the world that Sheepdog is here, and like to believe in the world of Sheepdog? Because you mentioned you went to the bank and they were like, nah,
yeah,
screw you guys,
Yeah.
or whatever version of
yeah.
words they said to you.
Okay, so I would say, or the flying here, this is still the one that bothers me the most. And this is, if you want to motivate me, do this to me. I'll go to like a banquet or something. And I grew up poor. We grew up like getting Christmas hampers. We never had anything. It was like, so going to these banquets with a bunch of very wealthy, successful people, like, oh, my dad was doctor this and I'm real estate investor this, like, it's like, that's not my world. But I go to these things and I feel like an alien, and I'll have like, I've made a lot of connections and I really put a lot of effort in networking, and someone will introduce me to somebody who's in like finance or some like money industry, right? Or really high level somewhere. And they go, oh, this is Shawn. He's got a, sells cold brew coffee. And they go, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I just go,
I've been there.
Like,
yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
And then I'll see that person a month later. They're like, hey, I saw your radio ads, and then I saw your van driving around. Then I saw it in every grocery store I went to. And then 5 friends in the last month have told me how much they love this coffee. And then it's like, oh, he has a real business. And like, I think that's a piss off for me when people introduce me badly, and I don't say anything. I just roll with it. I'm like, I sell a bit of coffee, and then it's like, no, we've got like 9,000 square feet of production space and 14 staff, and we're starting to now sell. We're launching into all of BC right away. Like, it's.
I feel you. I
yeah.
feel you.
So
They just talk. No, we don't.
yeah. I got a podcast. Sometimes they talk to people. Yeah.
It's a different level of. I don't, because not a single part of me wants to tell them and be like, this is what we do, this is what we do, this is what we do. But a part of me wants to show them.
Yeah. Well, if you're this cool, calm, collected guy at the bar,
Yeah.
and you're trying to meet a girl,
They come to you.
do you go up and go, here's all the things I'm good at, you're going to love me, I promise.
yeah.
It's like, no, you don't do that,
Not a
right?
single part of
So
me
you're
wants to
just
do
better
that.
off just being like, I do this thing. It's pretty cool. And that to me, I like long-term wins,
Of course.
I like that. To me, it feels more genuine. And like, think about the people in your life that you're like, sometimes I meet people, like, to me, when you meet someone and then you feel dumb afterwards because the person was so smart and so successful and you had no idea, and you're like, I had no idea who I was just talking to.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you want to be, man. Like, you don't want to be Mr. Pompous, like the fancy clothes and Mr. like, shaking your Rolex around while you're telling everybody how awesome you are, right? Like, nobody likes that guy. So like, but when you meet a guy who's like just a good person and you talk to them and they're chill, and this is what I've learned from, when I was starting Sheepdog, I didn't know anybody in business. But when I started in the police, I really wanted to do certain things. So I would try to emulate and learn from the best guys that did what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was getting into business, I didn't know anything. Like, I had never heard of the term accounts receivable. I had like nothing at all. And I'm like, oh, I'm starting this business, better figure it out fast. So I started a business networking group. And so I would bring together 30 to 60 entrepreneurs into a room every quarter, and I'd bring in guest speakers, and I would just use the opportunity to host a phenomenal evening.
That's great.
And it was all about just, I need this, so I'm going to build it, and I'm going to use it to meet as many people as I can and learn from everybody. And here's what I learned, is when you're meeting entrepreneurs and successful people, and this is probably true in most fields, like whether you're a nurse and you're talking to the doctors, the person that's super flashy and wants to boast about their accolades and all that stuff is rarely the person who truly makes it.
Yeah.
And every mega successful person I've met, and I've met quite a few like people that you're mind-blowingly successful. Mm-hmm. They all have a few things in common. They listen way more than they talk. They ask a lot of great questions. They're very calm. They're very kind. They usually have some sort of faith in their life, whether it's whatever religion that they are into. They usually have good family units. And it's like, oh, being this sleazy, hard-paced, like fast entrepreneur is never the same guy that makes it. Very rarely. Yeah. And maybe you go and you make it to the top once, but man, it doesn't keep you there. And I told my staff this story the other day, and they hate it. I like to talk in fables and myths and stuff. So
I love speaking in metaphors.
do you?
Yeah.
So this is the story I tell them sometimes when they get a little too, if we get a little too ambitious, and ambition's great, but like it has to be rooted in the right principles. Like, why are we doing this, right? So there's this story about the pheasant, and he's on the farm, and he's beside the bull, and there's one tree in the yard. And every day the pheasant tries to fly up into the tree, but he just can't fly very good. And so the bull says, finally, after days and days of watching this, the bull says, if you eat my dung, you'll have enough strength from the power from it, you'll fly to the top of the tree. Doesn't believe him, keeps trying. Finally he does it, right? Eats the dung right up to the top of the tree. He's like, wow. And right as he does it, the farmer walks to the farmhouse and goes, oh, look, a pheasant. Grabs a shotgun and shoots him out of the tree. And the lesson is bullshit might get you to the top, but it'll never keep you there. And so we really think about that one a lot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it comes down to is like those core principles. Like, yes, you can always be driven and like disciplined and fucking go balls to the walls all the time. Okay, but what happens when you run out, right? What happens when the gas tank is not full? You're gonna keep going, or you're gonna come crashing down the wall. So it's
How do you guys balance rest? What are you guys doing?
Don't.
I drink Sheepdog.
I pay respect. You guys are busy guys. We're Saturday morning sitting here.
Yeah. In this season of my life, I don't. If I'm gonna be
How
real.
old are you guys?
24.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In this season of my life, I don't. Not at all.
Have you ever like learned about the stages of development in life and kind of, in the decades? Yeah.
Enlighten me.
So I think Jordan Peterson talks about this a little bit. There's a couple other people that do, but essentially your 20s is your exploratory phase, right? So you have like your early childhood years, 0 to 10 is like, you're just trying to figure out how your body works and all that stuff. 10 to 20, you're in like your social phase. You're learning how social queuing works. You're learning how social groups work. Then your 20 to 30 is your grind phase, because your body is super capable. And like for most people know this, but a man's prefrontal cortex, which is like how they control their impulsivity and risk taking, doesn't even finish developing until 25. So your 20s is like, you got to push yourself as hard as you can, because your body can take it, your mind can take it, like just do it. And then in your 30s, you figure out what you're good at. And so in your 30s, you settle into this rhythm. But if you skip one of those steps, so if you're in your 20s and you didn't push and you just partied and hung out and, like worked a little bit and maybe you bartend a bit, like you're never going to figure out what you're good at. And you're just going to, you're going to get so stuck. And then I don't know if you can ever recover, because now your body's tired, your back starts hurting. You can't push and grind the way you could in your 20s. So in your 20s, I think, like especially guys, I can't speak for the female experience, but guys should work as much as they can. And like,
Agreed.
I am so against work-life balance for young men. And I never did it. But in your 30s, you can do it, because then you're like, okay, here's what I got good at. Here's what I'm interested in. Here's how I place myself in the world. And then they talk about how your 40s to 50s is sort of your statesman era, where I think it was 40, 50 to 50 to 60s, where now you're stepping into your like leadership role. And then when you get to about 60, 70, or maybe 55, 65, 75, now you're in your mentorship role. And I've had so many like business owners in their 60s, but hey, let's just go for lunch. Tell me what you're going through, and maybe I can give you a nugget. And they just do it because they want to. They don't have to pay for it or whatever. And they just want to help. And you see that. And so I always think about that a lot. If you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, when does it end? It's like literally all men go through this. So just do it.
What stage are you in?
I think I'm in my like flow. I'm getting into a nice flow state now. I learned all sorts of life lessons from policing and the military. Like literally beat myself into the ground by working so much. But now I have some really good skills. I love public speaking. I love being able to stand in front of a group and talk. I love leading my team. I love being innovative. I love pushing the pace and making new things. Some things I'm bad at is like administrative tasks I'm really bad at. I'm really bad at things that are like patterns. Like I can't do patterns very well. So I've had to realize that for my team, I need to hire someone who can do all the weekly tasks, because I'm going to just dread it. And so you really start to carve out like who you are, and then the goal, and I don't know if it's true because I haven't reached it yet, but eventually, if you spend enough energy working on who you are, eventually you get paid to be who you are. And you see that with people like that rise up as public speakers yourselves, right? You'll get to a certain point where the world's like, oh man, these guys are such good podcasters that like you'll get great sponsorships and you'll get great guests and like you'll just exist and the world will reward you for becoming the man you've become.
Great. I wanna come back to that idea of like your 20s to 30s being the grind phase. And I always like and the balance of like work-life balance. And currently I would say I'm in the phase of like, I definitely agree that 20s to 30s, you should work hard as you can, try and fail as much as you can because that'll set the bar for your 30s. But I've always heard that, okay, if you don't take time to enjoy your 20s and your 30s, so there's that analogy of like, have you ever heard like in your 20s to 30s, you have all the energy but no money in the world. So you should try everything you possibly can, learn as much as possible. When you get into your 50s and 60s, you have all the money in the world, but you have no energy. So it's like, where the fuck is the balance then? Like, where is that balance of, okay, I want to work extremely hard, but I also want to go on a Sunday morning coffee, like, and not have to feel fucking insanely guilty about like not working on my spreadsheet in the morning. Like, where is that balance?
I think when you get to the point of knowing what your abilities are, the balance figures itself out. And like, I mean, okay, so here, vacation when you're 20, what does that look like? For most 20-year-olds, what does it mean? It means you go to the 3-star all-inclusive you can afford, and you get wasted on bottom shelf booze, and you hope you don't pass out in a bush and get bit by a snake or something, right? That's like the experience. Maybe you go to, if you're real lucky, you're going to Ibiza, but you're probably just going to Cancun, you know? And so like, and you're like, I can't afford to leave the resort because I have no money. Even though the booze is cheap in Mexico, I only got a few extra dollars, right? And then the vacation when you're 35 is like, I'm gonna stay at this really nice hotel and I'm gonna really enjoy myself. I'm gonna do the things that I really enjoy. But you gotta like earn that, I think. So there's lots of micro moments to enjoy life. Like, and I think about this a lot. I don't know where I heard this, but I believe it completely. But your life is not those moments of pure enjoyment. Your life is what you do every day. So if you can't find a way to do all those things and grind and push, maybe you commit to something and then 2 months in you're like, I don't like this. That's good. You learned you didn't like it, you're gonna leave it aside, right? So maybe for those 2 months you don't really love it, but you're gonna leave that thing, whatever it is. But your life is like, you know, where do you wake up every day? Where do you go to bed every day? That actually is your life. So just build in micro moments in those days where you're like, oh shit, yeah. Like, you know, even though I had to do the spreadsheet for an hour, but like I got to go meet a friend for a coffee and it was great, right? And like for me, like I love being on the motorcycle in the summer. So like for me, I don't take a lot of vacations. I don't have time to go do trips, but you know, when I commute on the bike, it's like that moment where my cell phone's in the bag and I just get to enjoy it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the day. That adds up to, say I run a couple errands, that's 2 hours of my day. I just get to enjoy something.
That comes to like the idea that I found was like stacking. So it's like stacking as much habits or like your joyful moments together. So like, for example, if you know you have to commute to work and you really like listening to podcasts, like instead of listening to music, just toss on a podcast. And that's something that I like trying to balance. Or if I want to go for a walk and refresh, it's like, and I have a dog, take the dog with me. So it's like balancing like those moments of like, okay, I'm gonna grind, but like,
well, and like and micro luxuries, right? Like, I have a friend. His thing is, he thinks his home is better when there's fresh cut flowers in the house. So it smells nice. It's kind of a reminder that there's some life in the world, you know. Like that's his thing. He's just like, I just have them delivered every week, and it's just like that extra little thing, right? So for me, it's like, if I have time to, like for me. In my new office, like this, I don't bring my dog here, but like I get to bring my dog to the office with me, and like she just hangs out in the chair in my office and sleeps all day. But it's just like it makes my day better, you know. And so like that's like a little thing I get to do that I built into my life, where it's like I just enjoy having my dog there, you know. And but you can do that with all sorts of things, you know. Like I like to get a haircut every week. Like I just like having a clean haircut, and I love going to the barber shop, and I love hanging with the boys. I go to Woody's barber shop. Go to Woody's barber shop. The boys are great. You just go there. They're all great. We hang out. I usually bring them some coffee. Like, it's something I like to do. It's 30 minutes out of my day, but every week I look forward to it. And like, you can build those little things in there where it's like, so you're still grinding all the time, but you're like, oh, I'm gonna go do that thing that I really like for half an hour, an hour.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is like what you're talking about is, the idea that your whole life is a luxury.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, that ends really quick.
Yeah.
Like, because imagine being 40 and not having any skills. You remember a 4-year-old with no skills?
Yeah.
Man, that life sucks.
That would suck. That scares. That's
Terrifying.
why we work
terrifying.
as hard as we do right now.
Yeah.
One thing I've also realized recently, and very recent, is that a lot of things in life fall on a natural distribution of like a bell curve. And so throughout a day or throughout weeks, there's going to be moments when I feel like a 10 out of 10. Everything's going great. There's going to be moments when I feel like a 1 out of 10. This shit sucks. But like majority of the time, I'm sitting at a 5, 6, 7.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I think lately I've gotten better. And like for a long time, when I was working full shift work and running this, I didn't have the freedom of like curating a great schedule. It was like, forget that. It was just what has to get done and when, let's squeeze it in, right?
Prioritize, yeah.
But now I'm getting to a spot where I'm like, okay, I actually noticed that like I operate my brain is best at 5 a.m. I'm an early morning guy. I'm usually at 4:35 a.m.
Yeah.
My brain works best right when I get up till about 7 or 8 a.m. And by then I can get a whole bunch of things done that are like detail oriented. So I usually put my headphones on with like a good, like 40 hertz, playlist or whatever. Yeah. And that's my like deep focus time. But I know by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, anything detail oriented I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so trying to figure out those days too, to just play on my strengths in my day, and diet has to be part of it. If I ate like shit for a couple of days, like I'm busy. Sometimes I don't eat very well. Right. I notice my brain function goes down, and the next 2 days I'm groggy or not thinking super clearly. So that plays a part in it. And like, yeah.
Shawn, I want to talk about the world and almost geek out a little bit of retail and the world of like selling a product. I don't know anything about the world, to be honest, and I don't think the majority of people do. They go to a grocery store, they see a bunch of stuff on the shelf. Cool, it's there. They have no idea the work it takes to get there, where positioning matters, and why our psychological positioning determines what we buy and what we don't. Can you break down some of those things for me?
Where do you want to start?
Let's talk about the world of coffee.
Okay. How do you break into the market?
Getting into these retailers.
Well, if I was to do it again, say we delete Sheepdog from the world, we start something fresh. I would do almost what we did. I would just pick up the pace a bit more. I think at the end of the day, you have to realize that every business you start, whether it is a spray tan business or a solar panel, electric dams, I don't know, something, right?
Yeah.
All businesses are based in two things. Okay. And this is my own theory, okay? And so I have two things that all businesses are based in, and then I have sort of one overarching value system. And I think if you stick to these three, you'll probably be okay. So the first is you have to realize that all businesses have to make money, right? And so you have to make sure that there's money because it's how you keep score. And if you lose the money game, you lose everything, right? Not everything, you're not gonna die, but like you'll lose in business, right? And you have to start over again. So you have to realize that all businesses are making money. And the easy way to learn about business is to go into every situation you go into. And if you wanna just think about business at high level and open up your mind from how does I grew up blue collar. Like I got my paychecks, my jobs that looked after me. Like when you join the military, they're literally like, you're gonna poop now, you're gonna eat now, you're gonna clean yourself now, you're gonna drink water now, you're gonna learn this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna put this foot in front of that. Like they take all of the thought away from you, right? But if you wanna go into the world with a different perspective, go to every place you go into, how does this thing make money? Because that's the only thing that matters in all businesses. So you go to a local restaurant, you're going to walk in, okay, well, how does this business make money? So you go to like a nice lounge, they have a fantastic little glass of champagne they give you when you walk in. And it's okay, well, why are they doing that? That's a loss leader. They want you to have a great experience in the beginning because they want you to feel an emotion of coming back, right? And so then when you get to the table, how are they upselling you? So they'll probably ask you at a really good restaurant, they'll ask you, have you been here before? And then the servers are all trained to cater their response of, oh yeah, we come here all the time, or no, it's our first time. They know what spiel to give you, right? And then you start thinking about, okay, well, how are they upselling me? Is that you want guacamole? Do you want, right? Think about all those things and go to every business and think that way. Like, how did this tank company make their money? Well, they had stainless and they did, and so first one is make money. The second one, where was I going with this? So my first one is you have to make money. And then the second one is you have to realize that all businesses, no matter what, are people businesses. So there's different ways, and lots of business people will talk about different ways to massage this, but the very clinical university classroom way is you have to solve a problem in the market, and you have to do your market assessment and establish your client base, and and it's like, sure. Or just be a fucking person and be like, people do these things. And when you're building your business, A, it has to make money, so you got to do the math on it, but B, like, how can you just help people? Like, so if I needed these tanks. So there's a company that says, okay, we're going to find other people who need these tanks. We're going to make these tanks, and we're going to make it easy for them. And that's the value they're going to add to me, right? And so it's all about just adding value to people. All businesses are people businesses. Like, there's no business where, like, there isn't a person consuming something at the end of it. It's all rooted in people. So those would be my two, is remember that everything is about people, and then you just got to make sure you're winning the money game. It doesn't mean you have to beat other people. Like, you're playing the universe. Like, just make sure you have enough coming in that it beats the ones going out.
Will
right?
those two ever change? Like, will it ever not be a people business?
How could it?
AI.
AI is still for people until it kills us all. And there's only AI, and then you can make an argument that AI can only do things that benefits AI. So it becomes its own ecosystem.
Okay.
Right? Sure. If we were all dead.
Yeah.
Right? And it was just iRobot or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
But right now, people exist, and AI exists to help people.
Yeah, good point.
So, like, you can't build ChatGPT and be like, oh, forget about what people want.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah.
Right?
Here.
And then my overarching concept that I think every good business does is that what you create, and I've said this many times, this is kind of my theme, is that what you create is a show of respect for the people around you. So if you make a great product, and this is why we hate telemarketers, because they call us and they harass the shit out of us and they sell us junk. That's why you order something on Temu and it shows up like shit and you're like, fuck this, right? Because it's disrespectful. They've taken the money that you traded your time for. You gave away part of your life to get money, you gave that money to somebody else, and they disrespected you. And so I think the overarching principle is everything you create should respect people around you. So for us, we make great coffee because we don't want to give people bad coffee because it would be disrespectful to them. They've given us minutes of their life, right? Like, so we sell a can for $4, you get paid, I don't know, $20 an hour. It's a few minutes of your time that you've given us. If you really kind of, does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? You've been paid for that time, you have your money, or you've given us that money, you've traded a part of your life to have our product. We should respect you by making it great. And so that would be my overarching theory, and then remember the two principles.
Okay. Do people, because that is amazing. There's people in the world that don't follow that.
Sure. Do they make it?
I don't know.
Or are they the pheasant?
Good point. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
And you can bullshit your way to the top, and sure, you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm big into my faith. Like, I don't think that God would be very happy with me if I bullshit my way to the top.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So I think that's a
point.
decision you have to make with yourself. So you could absolutely upload the shittiest dropship product on Amazon and try and hustle it and sell it. And I guess, can you sleep at the end of the day? I don't know.
Some people can.
Some people can.
Yeah.
And they're just not people that be in my circle.
Another counter to that is the coffee now was probably not as good as the coffee when you first started.
Yeah.
So
but I think,
so was your product shitty at the beginning and it got better, or like the iterations through that?
but I think the care was still there.
Got it, yeah.
We just got better, right? It's like you go on a first date with someone, you're like, I think I like them. And there's some things I don't really understand about them yet, and there's some things I don't really like right now because I'm like, oh, whatever. And then as you build a healthy, nice relationship, you learn how to treat each other better, how to do things better for each other, hopefully, right? So you're not screaming at each other, right? And hopefully, that's everyone's kind of goal. Everyone kind of wants that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's our relationship with the consumer is like, yeah, okay, we started here, and we've just continued to try to make it better for you, right? And we've listened to you, we've made tweaks, and like, we're just trying to improve that relationship.
Yeah. So you're playing in a very big market with a lot of competitors. And even if you look at a local level, like you're looking at Empty Cup, you're looking at Tom Bargain, like you're looking at these, and yes, you've identified like, hey, left, right, you're in the middle. How do you set yourself apart though? Like there's such good coffee out there, and yeah, you're a cold brew, you've got different style of coffee, but what does Sheepdog do that's different?
Well, like I said, but like everything is about people, right?
Right.
I don't identify with the MacBook, sit at a very clean aesthetic cafe crowd. Because like I wore dirty boots my whole life and worked, so, and I see those guys. There's very few guys I know that go into like a really fancy high-end cafe and feel like they belong, right? And so for us, like I think as a brand perspective is like, that's why I talk about like that vintage beer vibe with like high-end coffee, high ends of caffeine. Like our target customers, people who like aren't going and doing that. And social media is swamped with people in that space, but like the nurse, the cop, the welder, the plumber, like I love it. We have people every day pulling up at our store in a truck, buying a case for the boys at the job site, and I'm like, wicked. Like that's our people, man. Like, and so we are for them. And so our marketing, our messaging, me, how my staff interact with them, like that is who we're for. And like, so you mentioned it, locally, Empty Cup, right? Empty Cup, like big corporate dollars, like throwing up big cafes, like they're for a different thing, right? They're for the cute matcha lunch date, sit at your computer and study. We're not doing that, right? We don't have our store has 2 seats in it by design, right? Because we're the coffee you take out in the world with you. Like we're the energy drink of coffee. Like we want you to, like when I see the doctor in emergency between patients and he's been up all night because he's on call and he had a surgery and resus and someone just died and someone losing their mind on meth because it's Winnipeg and and he's having a cold brew in the middle, like boom, that's our guy, right? Or like,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm gonna pick that apart a little bit. You said that's by design, but are you not losing out on opportunity to maybe upsell or get that repeated buyer?
Riches are in the niches.
Yeah. To what extent?
Well, so we roast a lot of coffee, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds of coffee. And people who know they can buy our roasted coffee, they know. And we sell a little bit here, we talk about a little bit. But this was a risk I took, and I think it was very intentional. So if we had opened up a full cafe here, and we had, so our name is Sheepdog Brew Co, right? By design, we brew the coffee for you. We've brewed it the way we think it should be brewed. You're gonna drink it that way because that's what we believe in, right? If we had opened up and we were a Sheepdog Coffee Company and we had a full cafe here, what does everyone think we are? A cafe. Okay. So I want to be a beverage brand. So I have 2 seats in our store where we have a coffee bar, which showcases our coffee making abilities, showcases our roasted coffee. Our staff are excited to tell you about, we're known for our cold brew. On the front door, it says, home of the nitro cold brew. That's our thing. So people in the area come by. We have like these wicked protein shakes that people come by. But when people think about us, they're like, oh, the canned coffee guys, right? Because, and this is a later on messaging for business owners is like, once you start to scale a bit, or if you're thinking about starting a business, people have such short attention spans, myself included, right? Like I'm not going to remember every detail about everything, right? Like you go to a Jets game, do I know all the equipment managers' names? No, I'm like, no, I like the Jets and they got a couple players that I really like, right? I remember bits and pieces of what I get. So if we were a coffee shop and we had 30 students here every day spending $3, 6 hours taking 2 shits and making a mess, like that's different business than a beverage brand at retail, right? Yes. So yeah, we can maybe upsell them occasionally, but it's not on our path of being a beverage brand. So yeah, you have to pick. And so, yeah, one of the risks was, and honestly, like we wouldn't do a cafe super well because all of our energy and and a lot of times in business, you talk about resources. And resources is a fancy business way of softening the word of cash. Right? Yes. So if we only have so much money to spend on payroll hours and on time and all these things, we're going to put those resources towards doing the thing that we believe in the most, which is our cans. Because we don't want to be a cafe. I don't want to be a cafe. Yeah. I don't hang out in cafes. It's not my thing, but I do a lot of shit. I go hunt, I go fish, I go do these things. This is what I would take with me.
Yeah. And it's also niche, but it's also your niche.
Yeah, totally.
And I heard this thing where like when Rogan first started, Rogan was his own niche. Like someone who is into MMA, who likes podcasting, who likes to talk alien stuff.
Yeah.
And things. Like he is his niche.
Yeah.
And like Sheepdog is your niche, but also people who look like you, feel like you, and believe the same things you do.
Well, and we did a rebrand. So like that story I told you on Corden of like the lady drinking our bottle.
Yeah.
My former business partner, him and his wife really kind of were more involved in those early brand stages. I was kind of doing some other stuff, but they had kind of put that together. And the brand was very like 70s chill. Like I'd say it was like a 70s Winnebago. So when I rebranded the company, I was like, okay, this has to align with me as a person, or else it's always going to feel like I have to shape shift when I'm working on my business. So like, I could never open a salon because they'd be like, I don't have any clue what makes a good salon and what, people would want to see on the wall when they're coming for their perms. I don't know, the girls, perms, the color, right? I don't know. But blowout, they're doing blowout, sure, yeah. You don't know what I do. Yeah. I'm balding, so I have no idea, right? Yeah. I only pay half price for haircuts, but
every week.
Yeah. But like, I was like, this has to align with me, and especially in this consumer packaged goods brand. I know you asked about retail.
Yeah.
We didn't really get into it too much. We can.
Sure.
But like in consumer packaged goods, like CPGs, the industry we're in, I just felt like it's going to be my life, and so I want this to align. So when I was doing the brand, we kind of had this picture of an old Winnebago, which is like our old brand. And then we had like the Tom Selleck with the Ferrari. And I was like, okay, we're going from 70s chill to 80s fast. And that's what we're going to do in this rebrand. And that was like my thing. It was like, I like this. I like cold, crisp lines with bright colors. And like, it reminds me of time of just like muscle cars and when wrestling was fun. And like, like it's just, that's where we're going to be. That's our sweet spot.
Yeah. In terms of, so CPG products.
Yeah.
How do you break into that when there's so many out there?
So yeah. To go back, so I gave you my 3 principles, my 2 rules, my 1 guiding light.
Yeah.
You have to understand how your potential customer wants to buy it, and you have to understand how people are going to make money off of it.
Okay.
So for us, we look at, so why would a consumer buy this? So when I was doing the colors for the cans, we can predict as a company, when we launch a new retailer, which can is going to sell better based on the color of the can. So a health food store will sell more of the blue. Italian or a upscale store will sell more purple. It's associated with velvet.
Yeah.
And grocery stores sell more red.
Why?
Retail red.
Really? Okay.
So we can predict which one is going to sell better based on the color, which is crazy, right? Because we only get 2, maybe 3 seconds with the consumer to make their decision, right? Yeah. So our labels, we wanted to be like, what is, I can see, yeah. We wanted the product to be up front and center. So when you walk past that fridge, it's like, oh, I could go for a cold brew, and you know exactly what it is immediately, right? So that's why the cold brew is right there, front and center. So I'd say you have to think about what would the consumer buy, but then also, if you want to slot yourself into the market, how do you make money for other people?
Right.
So when you think about the grocery store, and this is how they'll do it. So I can geek out on the grocery industry, but essentially there's the American model and the Canadian model, and they're inverted. So in the American model, there are 4 or 5 mega distributors that dominate the industry. But you can have a grocery chain bigger than Sobeys and Safeway that's in 5 states, right? In Canada, it's inverted. We have 4 or 5 major grocers and conglomerates that dominate the grocery industry, and lots of distribution companies.
Okay.
And so depending on who dominates the industry is who's going to make the most money, right? So Sobeys, Safeway, they have a certain percentage, and they have a category percentage margin they're going to want on every single thing. So when you're sliding yourself in the market, why would a consumer buy this? Are they going to like it? Is it good? But then also, how do you make sure that your partners are all going to make money off you? And so we have to go and look and say, okay, we know that Sobeys is going to want X percentage on our product. Can we fit that into our 2 guiding principles? Can we still make money and do that?
Yeah.
But then also like playing on that, because they're the biggest barrier to our success, right? So I would say, figure out how you're going to get into the market, and then how do you, all of your partners along the way, how do you make them money? And yours will follow.
Do you sit at a boardroom and just like pitch these guys? Like, what does it look like?
Depends. Like Sobeys Safeway has been phenomenal, and same with Co-op. I should say Co-op more. Co-op's been fantastic at supporting local, and so is Sobeys Safeway. We're just about to launch Save On Foods. We have a couple other big retailers in the works right now.
insane.
We're launching about 45 grocery stores in BC right away. It's my belief has been for Sheepdog that we are a marketing company first and foremost, because then the sales are easier. So when I went in and pitched Save On Foods, I get there and there's this panel of these 3 guys wearing their golf shirts and they look very serious. And I sat down, and we had just run a commercial on Sportsnet for the Jets playoffs, right?
Shut up.
So what's that?
Shout out Prolic.
Yeah. So we worked with Rolex locally. Yeah. So we did this super fun commercial with the jet, like with a fighter jet theme to play on like Winnipeg and the Winnipeg Jets and win the playoffs. So we done this thing. So I sit down at this table and they've got their clipboards, and I think they give you 12 minutes, which is such a weird number, 16 minutes or something, to make your pitch.
Yeah. Okay.
So I sat down. I was like, "Have you guys heard of us before?" And the one guy's like, "Yeah, we started a commercial on Sportsnet." And it was like easy after that, right? So it was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Have you tried it?" And then we were just pals, right?
That's sick.
So for me, I always think like, for the retailers, there is the standard way in the front door, but Charlie Chaplin always said there's a back door to every stage. And I always think that's the door you should take. So find a way to like get to know someone, go do some networking, do some great marketing. Like I see this too, like we'll go to these trade shows and your whole algorithm changes to all of the companies that are at the trade show, or all doing like hyper ads to pump it out to anyone at a trade show, right? So, you throw those money into some digital ads, and you find your own way. But at the end of the day, none of it matters unless the consumer buys it. So the retailers are going to do whatever. So for us, our goal, when we've got into the store, is they have different metrics for different sections. So for us, or I'll use a random example. Say you sell canned soup, and they have a brand of canned soup, and they say, okay, in this category, and the store managers or the program directors will usually tell you this. They'll be like, in this category, what we would like to see is, let's say, 10 units a week. So what we do with our stores is we say, okay, if our expected turn rate is X, that would mean that the category you have to stay on shelf, you need to turn X. So per store, right? So our goal is we keep metrics on all of our stores. We know the store expects us to do, I know the number I'm going to say, but let's say for simplicity, to maintain a place in the category, we have to do X, because we're studying how is our retailer going to how do our partners make money off of us, right? So we go, okay, if they need 10 to keep us on shelf, let's double it. Let's be the category leader. So then we're going out, my team's out doing demos in the stores. We're like doing everything we can to drive consumers into that store to be like, hey, this store only sold 4. We're not a category leader. We need to get that store up. So let's go set up a table there on a weekend and we need to be category leader, right? Because we want to save that shelf space. We want to whatever. And so the hard part for us as a local supplier in the grocery industry is, a lot of people don't know this, but all of the shelves are delegated spots by corporate. So they would call that the planogram. And so if you are the C-suite level of Walmart or Costco or whatever, you're going to have your planogram where everything's going to go. And an average Sobeys Safeway has 30,000 products in the store, and almost all of them are about 25,000 of them are going to be planogrammed on the shelf. So one of the huge barriers that we're trying to overcome right now is because we're a small vendor, we're not planogrammed. It means we don't have a spot for us
on the shelf. Yeah.
So for we sell a bottled concentrate cold brew, which I don't think we put out here, but we have it in the Toronto Maple Leafs arena. We just got into Canada Life Center. We have it in Calgary Stampede's using it in their venues. Makes phenomenal cocktails. Almost every cocktail bar in the city is using it to make espresso martinis and shafts. But when you go to the grocery store, there's the planogram jugs of cold brew from Starbucks and the big guys. We can't be in that fridge because the whole thing is paid for by Pepsi and Starbucks and all these big brands. So we have to put that product in out of the 25,000 products that are planogrammed, there's 5,000 products the manager gets to pick where they are. So we have to find a shelf space somewhere. So one of the challenges we run into is okay, a consumer would buy this, the consumer would like this, But when they go, it's like if you're going, you're like, okay, I need pickles. Yeah. You go to the pickle, you look at the thing, go, pickles are in this aisle. You go there, you assume these are the pickles available to me as the customer, but then you forget that the really good ones are in the fridge over there, right? The kosher, awesome, like super dilly garlic ones are over there, but they're not in the planogram because they're like maybe a local product. Elman's pickles. I eat a fuckload of Elman's pickles, and like I know that they're not in the planogram spot. I have to go to the fridge to go get them.
Yeah.
So that's one barrier we're going through right now as a company is how do we get people to put us on the grocery list, so we're on the list, and then realize that when they get to the store, it's not that we're not in the store, it's just that we are not in the planogram fridge. So we got to find a way to get you to see us somewhere else.
Hard.
So that's a battle for us right now that we're trying to overcome.
How do you change consumer behavior?
Well, there's the old adage that a person has to see your brand or your product or your name 7 times.
Yeah.
I would argue it's probably higher nowadays because even 2-3 years ago, like when you scrolled on social media, between stories, there might be one ad. Now I think it's every 3rd story is an ad set, and it's 4 to 5 different companies in that ad set.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right? So your tolerance for advertisement has like, nobody wants to be sold to, right? So everyone's tolerance for that is really low. I would argue that if it used to be 7 or 9, I bet you it's over 20 now, touch points you need to have. So you have to fight really hard to get those touch points. I don't know if I've totally figured it out. For us, I think we're changing coffee. Like we are making it better. If I was to really zoom out, there's 3 parts of coffee that you can screw up. So for whiskey, wine, for wine, they pick the grapes and they ferment them, they put them in the bottle. It's kind of one step, right? Or 2, I guess you could grow them and then you got to bottle it, right? But with coffee, there's 3. And the challenging part with coffee is that the 3rd most important step is left to the hands of the consumer. So how you grow the coffee, where it comes from, what plant, that's the first major step.
Right.
And then the second major step is the roasting. So how are we roasting? How are we applying heat to this green coffee bean to change its flavor? But then if I sell you the coffee bean, and I think this story is so funny. We were set up at a charity event that we sponsored, and we were selling cold brew, and we had given the charity organizers, we were out, it's a veteran horse camp for veterans of PTSD, and we were out at their ranch. It's like 3 hours north of Winnipeg, and they had this big open house for a bunch of Army vets, and we had given them the coffee beans, and it was the same beans that we used to make our cold brew, and they made it really bad. So people were coming over, they're like, oh, the hot coffee here sucks. And I didn't want to be like, well, it's also our coffee, right? And then they try to be like, oh, this is so much better. Thank God you're here. And I'd be like, well, like that was also us, but they made it so bad. So the 3rd step with coffee is like how it's made is such a big step. So we've removed that. We've said, hey, like now you're going to get cafe quality, phenomenal coffee on the go all the time. So we're changing how people drink coffee.
Yeah. And then I guess once they're hooked.
Yeah.
Like
we're,
if the product's good.
Exactly,
if the product's
right?
good.
So I think, so if we can get that touch point, we can get them to try it, and then they understand that like I'm getting more energy than a Red Bull. Like literally like triple a Red Bull in a light roast can. And then there's no additives, there's no sugar, there's no dairy, there's no gluten, there's no anything, right? It's all pure, like truly naturally occurring. Like you can buy a caffeine added soda water or something they add caffeine to, but I'm like, that still had to be like processed and derived and pulled out and then added and then blended and then stabilized. Whereas we have 2 ingredients. We have water and coffee, but we make it in a way that it's our custom brewing facility that makes the product great.
Yeah, I just think about the way that I consume products, and when I go to a grocery store, I'm getting the same stuff every time.
Totally. And Instacart's awful, right? Because like people are like, oh yeah, get the essentials and get out. They're not getting those impulse items, right?
Yeah.
So then do you have to go out of that traditional way to set yourself apart to get that repeated buyers?
I wish I had it figured out already, but I don't know if I do.
Right.
Yes, the answer is yes, you do. And what was the quote we talked about earlier? Safe companies die quietly, right? Like, so we have to be a little out there, tons of pop-ups, tons of like consumer engagement stuff. But the people don't understand marketing, right? Like marketing is not a fancy logo. Marketing is not nice colors. Marketing is what people remember and what people say about you when you're not there, right? So the only form of marketing that is foolproof and perfect is customer referrals, right? So like, if someone's like, my basement flat, I need a plumber. If your friend's like, this guy's great, he's super trustworthy and very reasonable, you're like, I'm not even looking for another plumber.
Yeah.
Right? So customer referrals is everything. And that's why we're so rooted in community. We talk about a lot with my staff, how we're a third sale company. Like, we just want you to try it. We'll give it to you for free. We want you to come back a second time. But like, we want relationships with our customers because we want you to think that this is something I now need in my life. Like, you know, and so, you know, like we talk a lot with my team of like, don't worry about selling it first, just build relationships and like, let's get people into our ecosystem. We're fun. Like, even our social media strategy, like, we barely ever sell anything on social media, almost to a fault. And our whole, like, we have, I think we have probably one of the best social medias in Winnipeg. And our goal is just to entertain.
Yeah.
We're just there to be fun.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you get into our ecosystem, you're like, oh, I love what Sheepdog does. And that's by design, because it's the same thing. Same thing as dating. We're just there to like be fun and something you want to be around, right? Like, we're not there to sell to you all the time. We very rarely ask for a sale.
Because I think people will naturally take that step if they connect with you.
Yeah. If they think the product fits their lifestyle and the community built around it is important. And people are hurting for community right now. Like,
That's
hurting.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think we're building that here. Like, when we had like the Moto Social here, and I think we've been voted their favorite venue. So every month, the Moto Social is this group of motorcycle enthusiasts who meet up and just chat motorcycles, right? And so we go above and beyond for them. So we bring in a DJ, we hook up a barbecue up front, we're barbecuing food for everybody. We had like 1,000 motorcycles parked in front of our store one night, everyone just hanging out, right? Like we're building that community. Like, that's what we're all about. So
I think I saw it firsthand at the marathon when I ran the 10 miles. It's like, and you mentioned this early in the pod as well, like, you intentionally made an effort to be like, no, we're not just a sponsor, we're here. Because I couldn't name you the last 25 sponsors of the Manitoba Marathon, even though I've ran it multiple times.
Yeah. No clue.
Right?
Yeah.
But I could name you guys. One, I knew we were doing a pod.
Yeah.
But also, because I saw you guys there.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually like one thing that I've had some people get a little upset with me about is having to say no to things.
Yeah.
Right. And so people are like here's one that this is going to get me some hate. Is like, I can't donate to wedding socials because I get 30 requests a week for people wanting their wedding social, and I'm like, if we talk, okay, so my experiment of like, how does a business make money? Also do the experiment of how they lose money, right? So if like if 30 people showed up at our little local business, and yeah, we're growing, and yeah, we have a great product, and yeah, but we're not a big business. We are still super small. If I give away 30 social prizes worth 50 to 150, 200 bucks a piece, like, math that out. That's huge. So I just had to make a rule that we don't anymore. And people get mad, like, I buy your product all the time. I'm like, great. That means that we can keep the lights on again. But like, I can't do this, you know? And so people get upset with that. But and then I had to make a rule because it was like, I can't give occasionally and then not to others, right? Because you went to social and Sheepdog gave a prize. So now it's just like, okay, well, we can't do wedding socials. And as much as we'd love to, it's just, we can't.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then there's like some charities that have reached out, and it's like, you know, not only is the marathon the cost of the sponsorship, but I brought our whole team. We set up equipment. We were doing activations. So all of that work really translates to money out of the company, right? So we can't do it for everybody, and we'd love to.
You're just strategic about
it. We just can't.
Yeah, it has to make you money.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it has to. Yeah. Or
Like,
be
it has to
strategic.
build the mission.
Yes. Yeah.
And so so you raised funding for Sheepdog.
Yeah.
What is the goal? Would you want to get bought out by a major company? And do you think they would come knocking on your door?
Okay, so this goes back to my overarching principles. I believe if you create a business for the purpose of flipping it, everyone can feel it. And maybe they don't know what you're doing, but there's like something empty and hollow about your business. So I'm building it as if someone could come and buy it. And the reason I'm doing that is because it allows me to take time off, because it means you have to force yourself to build good systems. It means you have to force yourself to figure out ways to to have the business function as an entity that isn't tied to one person, right? And we're like, if I died today, this would be like, there's still a lot hinging on me, but we're working on it. So I'm building it in a way that could be sellable. And if that day came, maybe we would consider it. But I'm building it that way so that it creates a well-run business. But I'm not motivated by that. What motivates me is I want to have a big successful business that makes big community impact. Like there was little things, I was even just thinking about this the other day. Like there was things that I told myself if we did, I'd be so happy. And it was like I wanted military veterans on staff. And now like our delivery driver is an Afghanistan veteran who just ran an ultra marathon last weekend. Wow. And I totally forgot that was like something that was so important to me. And then like having these young people where like, we had this discussion the other day. It was like, hey, like this isn't just like you're working at a coffee shop. Like some of our people now are looking at this as like, hey, this is going to be my career.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. And so maybe it would sell one day, but I don't think about that. I just think about we're going to keep building. We're going to keep sharing our products to people, and maybe that would happen one day. I don't know. I don't know.
Is that one of like a milestone that you like being recognized by some of these big brands? Because if they're coming to you, it's like, oh, we're doing something right here, even though you already know that you're doing things right.
Well, we're doing things that they can't do.
Yeah,
right? Like Pepsi couldn't grassroots a brand.
Yeah.
No one, like people are excited when Pepsi's like, we put cherry in the Coke, or sorry, Coke. people get are happy when Coke says we're gonna put cherry in the Coke, and everyone's like, cherry Coke. Yeah. But they can't be like, hey, we're gonna start this new product. They don't do that. They just buy up brands, right? I certainly look at a lot of that, and I think about what the opportunity would be.
How do you celebrate milestones? And what's a recent one that you've done?
I'm bad for that. My staff actually got mad at me at a staff meeting a couple months ago because they're like, we never celebrate anything. And I was like, well, we haven't made it yet. Like, I want to be
what is there to celebrate?
Yeah.
It's not finished.
I want to be a national brand. And then I was like, that's a good point. Like, we should be. And so now we've actually assigned one of our staff as the win officer. So her job is like every staff meeting to come forward with wins for everybody and like milestones we made. And so now we start every monthly staff meeting with like the monthly wins.
What's one you've truly celebrated? Like just even for a second?
Oh, getting it, like having the Toronto Maple Leafs reach out. Yeah. And being like, and this was so bizarre. No idea how they heard about us. They just reached out, wanted samples, sent them. Then they didn't respond to me at all for months. And then.
Like you got an email?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they just sent an order. Wow. And I was like, okay, that was neat. That was cool. But then I was pissed because I was like, fucking Chipman, let's go. Like get us in True North. Like I did a whole commercial with Jets in it, and like, I ran it on Sportsnet for you guys. Or Chipman, get us in the Jets. Like, we want to be in the arena.
Same.
Let's
make it happen, man. Come on.
And so I was just at the home opener, and the Tim Hortons is no longer Tim Hortons in the rank. It's now like, I don't know, like Jet, they have some like branded thing now, and they're proudly serving Tims. And I was like, man, like I know so many people that are like not drinking or don't want to drink that would have a cold brew and like sit. Yeah. It like our whole can looks like you're having a beer. It feels fun. Even like we had this one lunatic on TikTok. We posted a video of someone drinking a Sheepdog while driving, and this whack job was going off about how irresponsible we were about promoting drinking and driving, like 20 DMs about it and all this stuff. And I was like,
dude, it's coffee. You want?
Yeah. I was like, you're nuts. Like, get out of here.
That's marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's next for Sheepdog? Of course, you're breaking into the VC market.
Yeah.
You're continuing to strive into the community. But what's the bigger picture?
Well, okay, so right now we're trying to develop our go-to-market strategy as we launch these new markets. So as we go into, we're starting on the island, and we're taking a bit of a different approach. So like, if you're Prime Energy, when Prime hits the market, they're going to one of the big dog distributors who has hundreds of trucks across the country and reps in every province, and they're pumping that out by the pallet load to everybody. Mm-hmm. But they have huge celebrity endorsement behind the brand that everyone's going to know about it, right? So we could go to a big distributor and be like, hey, push us to every store in Western Canada. Yeah. But you mentioned this before, that would be a mile wide, inch deep. And so we're taking a different approach where we're hand selecting the retailers that we want, and we're going inch wide, mile deep. So we're going to start with the island, and let's get all those stores that we're launching into let's build relationships with the managers, let's get the volume up, let's be a category leader there. And then how are we doing our marketing in that community? So for us, the sheepdog concept, or the sheepdog protects the herd of sheep from the wolves, we have a really strong connection already with the military and the police. That's our core. But then also, like, I like supporting local artists, but we don't typically go with the ones that everyone else goes with. So the artists we support are tattoo artists and comedians. So we'll probably be tying into those people out in those markets and okay, let's find a tattoo artist that does like the same style that I like, and we'll do maybe like a local collab with that. And then let's find a stand-up comedian that's like the host of, the MC of all the shows out there. And so kind of developing those strategy in micro markets, like not micro, but 40 stores, maybe 30 stores in one region where we can have great touch points with that. So that's our next thing. And I would like to say that my hope and my belief, what I believe to be true, is that if we build great community in all the places we go, spreading nationally it's going to be like I think it's going to go like crazy. It's snowball.
You mentioned Prime Energy, and I watched an interview with Mr. Beast talking about Feastables, so his CPG product, and how he would pay people to go to the stores and buy up all the ones that were like trashed or like broken or something, and then him strategically coming up with the idea of like, okay, the box needs to look like this so that it doesn't fall over, and like hiring a box specialist. Is there anything strategic that you have done that like unlocked, like, nobody will notice, general person would not notice, but you're like, because we do this has drastically increased sales or drastically done something good for us?
This one's a little sneaky. I don't know if it's working super well. Not sneaky. We run ads through Rogers, and we geofence our retailers. And so that if you go to a Sobeys, Rogers owns the tower. So Meta might get data, but Rogers owns all the data. So then we own the ad rights to your phone. And so when you go to Sobeys, the Rogers tower knows that you went there. We know we saw our product there. Then you'll get our ads on like Candy Crush and all that stuff. So we've kind of found a way to like hyper target like our retailers.
How'd you think of that? Like,
it's just competitive, right? And I look at like kind of what people are doing, and even then I don't know if it's working. Like we really can't measure. We haven't figured out like in the only way we'd be able to truly figure out who's buying where would be like to do a big consumer feedback survey. And I think we're too small to waste the money on it yet, because I don't think we have enough consumers yet. We would need way more data points. Because we truly don't know who's putting it in their cart at Sobeys, right? So that's one thing we've done. I don't know if it's effective or not. Like, I don't know if those ads are working. I know I don't really care about some of the ads, the ad placement there, but that's one thing we've tried. I think that our branding with the colors has really helped, like big time. And then the black can with the gold lid, like everyone else does the skinny, taller cans. And I always felt like that can feels like a treat, or like it's like for people who are minimalist. And I was like, I'm a maximalist. I'm like do more, do it louder, so the can shape is meant to feel like you're just going to crush a beer, right? Which I used to do when I'm sober. Right?
I understand.
How data driven are you?
You have to respect the data. But I would say, we'll see how this goes, but a lot of my big decisions come off of my beliefs, supported in some data, right? But I think at the end of the day, if you get too lost in data, you forget people. And that's my overarching thing, is like all about people.
Shawn, from your story and sitting here for what, 3 hours?
Wasn't that long, was it?
2 hours?
2.
I've definitely learned a lot, and I can definitely tell that.
I don't know if any of it's right. So maybe
we're sitting in a warehouse with freaking massive.
Shawn, you deserve it. The validation that you're looking for, you deserve.
Thanks, man.
Even just like what Arsh was about to say, like the nuance that you go into, and the passion that you do it. Like we've sat with people who, talk about the bullshit thing of like, there's something that isn't really real. And you can tell.
Fabricate an origin story.
Exactly, right?
A motive, but
this feels real. This feels real.
What is your advice to the entrepreneur out there, the young man out there, the female out there that's trying to chase their dream and make their dream a reality?
my advice would be to a new entrepreneur is that people are only going to believe you after you've done it. So just go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shawn, is there anything here that you think we should have touched on that the world should know about Sheepdog and you?
I just believe, like, I don't know, like, just, no, I think we had a good chat. I probably talked too much. You guys are like, hey, we have 60 minutes, and here we are at like 90. No, I think we had a good chat, and I'm really passionate about community, as we've talked about, right? And so there's certain things that I'm doing on the side that, like, if anyone would want to participate in, I would love to have you. So, like
what?
I do run this business networking group. There are some barriers to entry. I do charge a fee, but my whole concept when I do it is I bring in really great speakers and I bring in great food and music, and it's meant to feel like a high impact, super fun night where you meet great people. I would, if anyone wants to come, like just send me a DM on Instagram, send it to my account, not the Sheepdog one. And then one thing that I've floated out into the world that it seems to be really like gaining some interest is, like, I'm really passionate about, as a policeman, I went to lots of suicides, and when I would go to suicide, it was almost always men. Couple girls, but it was almost always men, and that really breaks my heart. And so I look at community for men, and I think that our grandpas and our dads had the Shriners, the Legion groups, the veterans groups. They had places where men would go, and they don't exist at all. And so for most guys, the only social time is maybe at work if they're lucky, and maybe if they play beer league hockey, after a few beers, they get to have a couple yucks in the locker room. So I've really been wanting to start a men's social network based in some principles and some guiding ideas that, so I'm putting that together with a couple of registered therapists and another guy that's a C-suite executive at a very large fitness company. And we're kind of curating this idea we have of supporting men and the idea that iron sharpens iron and helping men be the best that they can be for their communities. So that's in its infancy, and that's something about me that I'm very passionate about on the side outside of Sheepdog. And so if anyone, like, if you want to follow my personal Instagram, you can. I hope that we get this off the ground. And when I posted something the other day about saying I might do this, and out of my very small following, I had probably 30, 40 guys message me and be like, hey, like, I need this. I want this. And my thought is, if 30, 40 guys are saying they want it, there's probably hundreds more that are just nervous about even saying that I feel like I need something in connection. And so that's something I'm going to do. And that'd be the last thing I haven't mentioned. That's outside of Sheepdog. Yeah.
If you were to go back and talk to the little Shawn, the boy in the house, what would you say to him?
Oh, I wish someone had said to me that it was enough and that it was good.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't think boys hear that very often.
Yeah.
Is it good right now?
Things are really good right now. Yeah.
I think it should be, man.
Yeah.
Shawn, thank you so much for letting us into your house.
Yeah.
And your temple and sharing your story with us.
Temple. Nice.
I'm sure it's our connection is gonna last longer than this.
Cool.
And if you haven't already, check out Sheepdog. Hit up Shawn. And until next time, peace.
Yay.